Okay. Can you see that it's recording? Yeah, brilliant. All right.
It is. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So let's go again then. Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining the session today. This session is organized by Women in Tech. As Women in Tech, our network believes in sharing knowledge, supporting and inspiring women around us. We run incredible mentorship and training programs for various IT roles. Do check our website and connect with us on LinkedIn. Now, a little about our guest speaker, Mayur. Mayur is an excellent mentor and a tech leader. In my previous roles, I've had the privilege and opportunity to work alongside Mayur. Mayur has over 12 years of experience in delivering and pioneering Microsoft integration technologies. Mayur is one of the most talented and the tech leaders I have come across in my working experience. So today, Mayur is going to talk about one of the most popular topics, OpenAI and Azure, and educate and inspire us with his knowledge. As Women in Tech, our network believes in basically encouraging everybody and inspiring everybody. So do I encourage you, all of us, to raise hand during the session and do ask questions. Let's make this a very collaborative sessions as there are a few of us. So please don't be shy and do raise questions. If not, you can always post your questions via chat. I would also encourage you all to join the Women in Tech networking group. Our team has shared this information on the chat. Please do connect with each other or myself and Mayur via LinkedIn. With this, I would like to invite Mayur to take the lead and take the floor and get this session going. Thank you, Mayur.
Great. Thank you very much, Mona. Appreciate that. And just a couple of more people joined after you started. So can I request everyone, if you don't mind, can you put where you're joining from in the chat? We're definitely not gonna come out and knock your door, but would be good to see where we are all joining from. And all right, let's get started. I'll share my screen. And first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for joining on this Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. I really appreciate that, because it's a tough call. You have 100 other things that you could do on Sunday evening at 5, because tomorrow everybody's gonna get back to work. But you decided to spend this 1 hour with us, hopefully trying to learn something new. So I really appreciate that. I'll share my screen. Okay, are you able to see the screen, everyone? Somebody will have to give me a audible clues for that. I know, because
Yes.
I'm not seeing anything else right now.
Brilliant. We can
Okay.
see it. Thank you,
Okay.
Mayur. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. Sure. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this session. Most of you would have heard OpenAI. A lot of you would have heard Azure, but I don't know how many of you have heard OpenAI and Azure at the same time. So during this 1 hour session, I hope that I'll be able to clarify a lot of these mythical points. It sounds magical a lot of times, and since ChatGPT has come around, everyone talks ChatGPT, but then there are, being some technical person, we would want to know little more than just ChatGPT has some sort of magical AI behind it, right? So during this 1 hour session, I hope I can take you through the journey, explain you a little bit more of what OpenAI is a company and the services are, and what are the benefits of having OpenAI directly integrated and available on Azure cloud. So I'll try and get you as much details as I can, and I hopefully would have some more time left at the end for you to ask any questions. But as we are going through, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, or just speak out. We are having a small group has its own benefits. You can simply, just say, what, I have a question. Can you repeat this, or can you clarify this? I absolutely don't mind that. So please feel free to stop me at any point and ask me any questions. Right. So let's begin this session on OpenAI on Azure, arranged by the woman in tech, amazing people, Mona, Tutu, all of them. And let's learn the power of ChatGPT on your own data. Let's have a quick view of what we are expecting in this 1 hour. Honestly, I've attended so many of such sessions that I have my own rule. I always go from, points in this way, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I also put out how many minutes I'm gonna hopefully spend on any particular topic, so that if any of those topics, if you feel that you're lost, or if I start sucking at any of those topics, at least you would know exactly how long I'm gonna suck for, right? So you don't have to indefinitely wait for this session to end. You would know exactly how many minutes I'm planning to spend on each of this time. So with that, we'll do a quick introduction of myself. I don't think we'll have enough time. We've about 11 people, so I don't want to go around the table. But if any of you have any questions, please feel free to introduce yourself when you ask, so that we know who you are. And then there are two things we're talking about, right? OpenAI and Azure. So we'll see what is OpenAI, and then next we'll see what is Azure. Now, honestly, I don't know the exact background of all of you, so I'm going to assume that you have some knowledge or little knowledge of both of them. So if you do know a little bit about any of this topic, and if I'm starting from very beginning, please bear with me, because I have to assume that you need that start from the beginning. And then the main topic is why OpenAI on Azure, why it is so important, and why do we even have to talk about it, and why do we talk about it now, right? Once that is done, I have a very quick demo, just about 10 minutes we'll spend. I want to show you hands-on how it looks like having OpenAI capacity, that means a ChatGPT capacity on Azure, and what you can do with your own data. Can you build your own ChatGPT, right? So we'll try and build our own ChatGPT type service within that 10-minute demo. Basically, that would give you the idea of how powerful this combination is, and hopefully it would also open up your thoughts on where else you can implement this, right? And then your own perspective would help you understand whether you want to build a career into this. If you're a business background, do you want to utilize some of these services in your business, and so forth. So some of those things I'll cover in the use cases. And then hopefully at the end, we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes left for the Q&A. So if you have any questions, we can go over them at that time, right? So let's get started, and I'll try and stick to the timeline as much as possible. All right, so my name is Mayur Mekwand. This is one of the recent picture. I just got it. So I thought, let me use this. The guy who is being killed in this picture is me. I am a senior consultant at a company called Reply. We are headquartered in London, Victoria. The guy who is killing me is my boss. Some of the other guys are my awesome colleagues. And we recently had a town hall meeting at the Chessington Adventure Park. So we do a lot of fun, and then we do a lot of awesome work on Azure. Some of this awesome work requires me to wear many different roles, many different hats. Some of those are solution architect. So on some days, with some clients, I'm solution architect. Sometimes I'm data and AI architect. Sometimes I'm an integration architect. A lot of times I also do a lot of mentoring in the company itself. We have a lot of graduates, and I do like to mentor those graduates for a full 1-year program. Now, this is my full-time job, but when I'm not working, I have a blog. So if you want to read about some things that I find interesting, you can follow my blog at mayurmekwand.com. I write about all sorts of things, about books that I read, about Azure, about some other things, some of my other passions, which are time-bound passions. So anything that I find interesting, I share on my blog. Feel free to follow me at my blog. I also have another blog called Learn 360, which is very much Azure focused, where I teach on, on different roles on Azure. I've also written a short book on product management. You can find it on Amazon. It's an ebook. It's called Product Manager's Handbook for startup founders and first-time product managers. I also teach with Tutu. I'm hoping to collaborate on some topics in near future. Then on a platform called Maven, I teach a course that is called Azure Integration Accelerator. I run a batch every month that goes a 3 days live tutoring program. And then if I get any more time left, and if there is anything really exciting coming out on Azure or probably any other technology, not just Azure, I have a YouTube channel named Learn 360 where I post a lot of Azure related content. And if you're just getting started, I have a whole bunch of library where you can learn from about 44 videos, a lot of things about Azure. So I don't think I can talk more about myself than this. Let's get right started into the topic of the day. So what is OpenAI, right? Some of you may have heard the company's name OpenAI. Let's understand why do they exist. They've been a research company for a lot of time, for a long period of time. OpenAI has been a purely research company, funded by a lot of companies like Elon Musk and Microsoft and many other companies have funded OpenAI to build some guidelines and some technologies for artificial general intelligence that benefits the humanity. Right now, a lot of you would have heard from some of the entrepreneurs like Elon Musk is quite vocal about this. There are no government regulations around AI at the moment. And so some of these companies are trying to prevent some of the misuses that can come out of OpenAI. Out of the AI technologies. This is a very powerful tool, and that is why a lot of responsibility is needed around how to use it. So OpenAI is basically a research and deployment company. It's been funded by many other companies, but now they've come out with some of their own products, which are outside of their the public part, the research part. Now they're coming out with the product, which are commercial products like ChatGPT. So you can use it for free, but you also can pay to use some of their advanced capabilities, right? So their mission is to basically prepare the AI technologies and the rules around it so that it benefits the humanity. It's a good cause mission, basically. But they've also introduced these two of the very cutting edge technologies that has gained amazing momentum in very minimum time. The first one is the ChatGPT itself. And I'm hoping that all of you have used ChatGPT some point in your life. If not, do that very next thing right after this video, okay? If you're not using ChatGPT, you are missing out on a lot of those things, right? We'll go on much more detail of what you could do with this cool tech with your own data. And then there is another product that OpenAI has is called DALI. The 3 is just the incremental number of their newer versions, where you can ask it to prepare any kind of designs and it would do it in a matter of few seconds. These two are one of the most used tools right now, and there are a lot of companies being built around these two technologies. Okay, so if you are not using these two tools, you must start using them as soon as possible, and you would eventually realize that you've been missing out on some of these things, right? OpenAI is very important in the AI segment. There are many companies who have been working on AI, including Google, Oracle, whatnot, Apple, Facebook. They are all working on building the best AI out there, right? OpenAI is at the forefront, so it's one of the most important company to look out for. Now that we've learned about OpenAI, let's learn about Azure. But before we go there, I want to focus on a couple of points about OpenAI that makes it really critical and important for us to focus on, right? So this chart, it's the data of some of these high big tech companies about how many days it took them to reach 100 million monthly active users. Okay, so you can see Netflix, it took them about 3,500, so closely 9 years, 9+ years to reach 100 million users. Companies like Twitter, Facebook, and Spotify, they took anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 days to reach 100 million users. Instagram took about 3 years to reach 100 million users. And ChatGPT has taken just 2 months, so about 60 days, right? So this is why ChatGPT is very important tool, and that is why the company that is building it is very important company for us to learn about. Couple of more keywords that you've recently heard. I just want to clarify that so that we understand what those keywords are. Have you heard of GPT, right? What is GPT in ChatGPT? Have you heard of LLM, the large language models, right? Have you heard of these Llama and Palm 2, all of these new technologies coming out? So let's spend a quick couple of minutes understanding what these keywords are, what do they mean for us, and how do we use them, right? So at the bottom of it, there is this transformer deep learning model. That's the AI technology. Okay, every company is using some sort of transformer deep learning model. What does it mean is when you a sentence, it breaks down the sentence into its individual words, and then it is trained to act like a human like brain so that it understands what's being spoken or what's being typed, and then it can actually respond just like a human does, right? So that's the transformer type models. Now these large language models are all of these different products that are created by these different companies. So OpenAI has created this GPT-3. Well, it started with one, but the public versions are only three onwards. The pre-GPT-3 were only research models. So they've created these models. They've trained all of these models on a large amount of data. GPT-3, then came out GPT 3.5, then 3.5 Turbo. So every incrementally upgrading version is much better than the previous version, obviously. And the most recent one they have is GPT-4. ChatGPT website that you're using, if you're using it for free to ask questions, it is using GPT 3.5 Turbo large language model. But if you're one of the pro users, where they charge you $20 a month, you get access to GPT-4 and many other nice things along with that, right? I'll go over some of the technical details that distinguishes between these two. So the Meta, the Facebook company, has their own large language model called Llama. Recently, Stanford has also introduced their large language model. And Google also rushed. As soon as ChatGPT came out in the market, Google had to do something about it. Now, it's not that they built it overnight. They had been working on this for many years, but they also launched a version of their large language model called Palm 2. It's called Bard. Now, Bard is not, at the moment, is not as good as ChatGPT, but it has its own advantages because it is connected to the internet where ChatGPT is not. And all of these ChatGPT and Bard and Bing Chat, all of these are applications built on top of the large language models, right? So on the very bottom, you have the transformer deep learning models, and then you have the large language models, which are trained AI models. And then you have applications which are built using these large language models. Right? So I hope this terminology is clear because it can get really confusing. Now, these keywords are being quite loosely used around, for many different purposes. But if you are serious, if you want to learn about these two keywords are quite important. So make sure you understand this, right? Because anything that happens now onwards would be built upon one of the best of these technologies. So all of these companies would be fighting to get their model to the best level so that people can build on top of these models. That is where their revenue would come in future. Okay. Any question before I move on? Anyone has any questions? Can you write down in the chat or anything else?
The only
Okay.
question I have, Mayur, probably I'll write down in
Yeah,
the chat as well. Not
sure.
important for addressing right now because we want to get through the course.
Yeah,
Maybe an example of what's the difference between Turbo 3.5 and 4,
yeah,
the paid, because
yeah,
some of
yeah.
us do use ChatGPT at work, and it
Right.
and I understand the power of it, but I'm not paying
Yeah,
for a subscription now, so it'll be worth understanding
sure,
what that is towards the end if we have time.
sure.
Thank you.
I'll definitely cover that. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next topic where we want to understand what is Azure, right? We understood OpenAI, we understood their products, the GPT 3.5 to 4. So let's understand what is Azure, right? Now, it's not new. Azure has been around for over a decade now. It's a cloud computing platform, right? There are few major cloud computing platform. One of them, the first one rather being is AWS, which is from Amazon. Azure is from Microsoft. Oracle has its own cloud. Google has its own cloud services. There are a lot of companies coming out with their own, like Alibaba in China. They have their own Ali Cloud. Many such cloud companies are coming out, right? But Azure is currently running at the forefront as far as the usage and the revenue. Even though it started after AWS, it has surpassed the usage and revenue of AWS, right? What is cloud in a nutshell? If we want to explain this to someone who has never heard what is cloud, right? So you have your computer, but you don't own the hardware, right? The computing power is in the cloud somewhere. In the cloud means some other company is holding that physical hardware around the world, not in one place. So all across the world, they have their hardware, which is called data centers. It is all interconnected with a very high-speed internet capabilities. And all of these locations are synced internally. So if you create a file, let's say in London, right? And then if someone is accessing it from, let's say, New York, the guy in New York gets a copy from the New York location. You created a file in London, but it can sync across the world in no time, right? It has that capability because these are all physical data centers spread across the world. Now, when cloud started, basically, there are three different types of services on cloud, but the most important and the most used service up until now has been infrastructure as a service. So you may have heard this name, IaaS, right? What is it? You're simply renting the hardware from these cloud companies. So if you want to build an application, you need, let's say, a 7 or 8 core processing power. You need, let's say, 64 gigabyte of memory. You need 2 terabyte of storage, and you need certain internet bandwidth. So you go ahead and you ask this cloud company, you know what, I want a computer in your network, and I'll pay you a rent to use it every month. And if I want to increase the capacity, I'll just pay you a little more so that you can increase it. I don't want to buy my own hardware. You provide me the hardware. I'll simply access your hardware via wherever I am, whether my laptop, my phone, or wherever I am, right? So that's the infrastructure, where once you rent the infrastructure, you're also required to maintain it. If there is an operating system update, it's your responsibility to go ahead and update the OS, right? Now, this is where the next item is, where Azure catches up the market, right? Everyone provides infrastructure as a service. Now, the next thing is platform as a service. So, taking one step ahead from infrastructure, what does Microsoft say? You know what? Do you want to use some sort of AI services, just like OpenAI? How about I'll put the AI services in my cloud, and you just use the AI service, and I'll charge you however much you use it. So there is a pay per usage model where you pay for it for the service, not for the infrastructure, right? So infrastructure is not your worry anymore. You don't even have to start thinking about it. You just start thinking about how to build the application, not to worry about the infrastructure. That is the platform as a service. And Azure has many such platform as a service, right? And that is why Azure is now getting ahead of all of the other cloud computing platforms. The next one is software as a service, right? Which many of you would have heard, have used many software as a service products. Azure has a lot of such products. For example, if you use Microsoft Office, which is now called Microsoft 365, that is a software as a service, right? So you're only paying for your licenses of that. Means if you want to use for 10 people, you pay for 10 people. You don't have to worry about who is going to develop the software. You don't have to worry about who is going to maintain the infrastructure. You don't even know how many CPUs are there. All you care for is, okay, when I log into this site, I can use the software, right? So because of the second and third, Azure is doing really good in the market, and that is why it's one of the most important cloud in the market. Just like OpenAI is one of the most important companies in the AI segment, Azure is one of the most important companies in the cloud segment. Now, moving on to the next topic, why OpenAI on Azure? That is the subject of today's talk, right? OpenAI on Azure. Why do we even care? OpenAI is available on AWS, by the way. It is available on Oracle Cloud. It is available on any other cloud, basically, not just Azure, but it has an additional benefit on Azure. And that is why it is important that we talk about OpenAI and Azure today, right? Now, on the outset, OpenAI itself is built on Azure. Understand this, right? OpenAI itself is using Azure as its computing technology. Azure Cloud is already optimized for OpenAI. Microsoft has already invested billions of dollars in OpenAI so that Microsoft can utilize some of the first mover advantage with OpenAI. Right? You may have heard of Copilot in Microsoft Office. If you've used Bing browser, it has ChatGPT built into it, right? So Bing can be your ChatGPT. You don't even have to use ChatGPT. You can just type into Bing and it answers like a human, right? So OpenAI and Azure is quite powerful, well-built and well-integrated platform that comes out of the box. Let's look at some of the real-world scenarios. For example, if you've seen one of the upcoming version of Office, where you don't even have to build a PowerPoint presentation like this, what you can do is you can ask the Copilot, build me a presentation and it will do it for you, right? That is one of the real world use cases of OpenAI on Azure. Okay, I'm going to be very honest with you in this one, and I'm going to share you another use case of OpenAI. Can you see my browser? Let me move this thing around.
Yes,
Okay.
we can, Mayur. Thank you.
All right. So while I was creating some content for today's demo, right, what I did was I have created some outlines of what I want to talk about today when I'm talking to you. So I've got all of these outline. I give it to ChatGPT, and then I said, can you write me? Here is my prompt. Create an engaging presentation with graphics using below points. And I gave all of my points. And then here is, it used something called plugin. This is, you only get to use this if you're a pro user. That means if you're subscribed to the pro subscription, this is when you can use it, right? And it created, literally within seconds, it created the presentation for me. I've already downloaded, so I cannot use it again. But let's ask it again, okay? Can you redo the presentation? Very human-like language. I don't have to be specific on what I'm going to talk about, but I'm just talking just like I'm talking to another human being, right? This is the real-world use case of the power of ChatGPT, which you can basically use it for many other purposes within your companies, within your teams, or just for your own personal productivity, basically. So it's using a plugin called Smart Slides. It has recreated the presentation. So if you can see, it had already created one presentation for me. Now it has recreated another presentation, and I can see it here. Here is my new presentation, right? It may not be up to date. I may have to work a little bit on it, but as you can see, this is pretty damn good. I mean, it literally saves me hours and hours of manual work, right? So that's use cases. Once you start using ChatGPT, and I strongly recommend pay the $20. It's gonna be more than worth of it, right? But we'll see some more use cases later also. And we also want to see, basically, because it's on the cloud now, what it does, it allows you to use your own data. Right now, the ChatGPT, the public version of ChatGPT, is trained on the public knowledge. Anything that is on the internet, OpenAI has taken all of that knowledge and trained ChatGPT. So ChatGPT can answer you anything that is public knowledge, right? But if I want to create a similar product for my own company, for example, where let's say it's an HR bot, my company has HR policies worth, hundreds of PDF documents. Every time any employee needs anything, they have to create a ticket. You know how tedious that process can be. Create a ticket, or you send an email to the HR, and then 2 days later, someone comes back to you. Rather than that, you can use all of those HR policies, put this OpenAI technology on top of it, and then you have your own ChatGPT giving you instant answers from your HR documents, right? So there are a lot of such use cases which you can do with your own business with the power of OpenAI and Azure. The next section, I want to go ahead and give you a demo, hands-on demo. Within 10 minutes, I'll try and create a ChatGPT for us. I have a sample document. I'm going to use my document. I'll also show you some of the other prompt engineering that you can do with ChatGPT. So before I move on, are there any other questions in the chat, Mona? Anything else? Anybody else? Any questions?
No, not yet, Mayur.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to my Azure cloud, and then we'll create an OpenAI. We'll see something called Chat Playground. Literally call it a playground. So you can do whatever you want, and then you can deploy the chat application right from there. Right? And this is where you would notice that how closely Azure and ChatGPT or OpenAI are integrated with each other. So as I mentioned earlier, they are available in AWS as well, but it is not this level of integration. You would still have to do a lot of groundwork yourself to build anything with OpenAI. But on Azure, not like that. So let's go to the browser and let's have a quick look at how that works. So I'm on my Azure screen, basically. I've logged in with my account. When you log into Azure Cloud, this is something what you would see. I don't know how familiar you are with the user interface, but these are all of these services that I have recently used. If you click on more services, you would see all of the other services that Azure offers, right? So on the left, there are types and categories. So let's say if you want to use a database, these are all the type of databases you can have on Azure, right? And similarly, when you go to AI plus machine learning, there are so many AI services which is available out of box with Azure. Some of them is like video indexer, bot services, computer vision, custom vision, face APIs, right? So a lot of these services are out of the box available. So your job is not to build the AI service. Your job is to now use this AI service and build something out of it. Now, similar to a lot of these AI services, now there is another new service called Azure OpenAI, right? So you can click on this, you can create a new instance of this service. When you create an instance, it would just ask you some basic details like what names and where are you based. So basically, which region you want to host your ChatGPT application and all. So I'm not gonna go in the flow. I've already created a sample OpenAI service. I'm calling it Learn 360. So L360 OpenAI. It is hosted in UK South region, right? So anyone who is utilizing from UK, basically they get most immediate response. There is no lag at all, right? Let's go in the OpenAI service. And when you go here, you'd see something like go to Azure OpenAI Studio. This is where you can create a lot of interfaces with the chat, right? You can play with the chat. You can see exactly how it works. So there are some other options, but I'm not going to go into the details of this. This may not be useful at the moment without some other knowledge. So I'm just going to focus on the OpenAI Studio right now. Okay. So these are some of the services that you can get started immediately, right? Chat Playground. So exactly what it says, design a customized AI assistant using ChatGPT. But it's a customized assistant, right? There's some completion, just like chat, there's something called completion playground. There's DALL-E playground. DALL-E is basically the image creation. So just like ChatGPT, you can have your own DALL-E engine where your users basically can type in whatever they want to create, and the image would be created using the AI, right? And another option is bring your own data. So this is the most important part, right? Rather than using a public service, now you can use your own data to build your own ChatGPT. So these are some samples you can easily get started. But for now, I'm just going to head over to the chatting part. So let's assume this is ChatGPT, right? There is some chat window here. There's some assistant setup, right? I can set up how I want this to act, right? And I can immediately try how it looks here. And then I have various like 3.5, I've used GPT-4 deployment here. So just like GPT-3, 3.5 Turbo and GPT-4, you can use all of them here. Okay? It comes out of the box, so you're not creating anything. It's already available for you. Now I want to create a chat GPT for universities, right? So I want it to answer questions related to universities. All you have to do is, how do you train this chat GPT, which is already trained? You want to train it just for your purpose, right? We're still not using our data. Okay, keep in mind, we're still not using our data. We're still using the public data, but you want your chat GPT to be a little bit different than all of the other chat GPT users. So here you can tell the chat GPT what you want it to act like. If you're seeing this system message, you are an AI assistant that helps people find information. I'm going to take this further. You're an AI assistant that helps people find information about universities. And let me save the changes. Let's ask a question about a university. So I'll ask what courses are taught by Stanford Uni. Right, let's see what answers do we get. Okay. So as you're seeing, this is just like ChatGPT. It looks different, but this is ChatGPT itself. Now it is giving me the answers as if it is an AI assistant helping with university-related questions. Right? Let me ask another one. How many students are there in Oxford? Right? Okay. Because it has been trained up until 2021, it is now giving me an answer. Up until 2021, there have been about roughly 24,000 students with about 11,000 undergrads and 11,000 postgrads, right? I want to do some fun stuff with this so that it's not just like any other chat GPT. I can say, answer in rhymes, right? So let me instruct the assistant. You're an AI assistant that helps people find information about universities. Reply in rhymes. Okay. Let's ask the same questions again. How many students are there in Princeton? Now look at the answer, right? In Princeton's academic mission, around 8,000 is the student addition. Number that's certainly no fiction, making it a hub of scholarly tradition.
Pretty amazing.
Right? So it's the same ChatGPT, but now you customized it with your own test, with your own purpose, right? If this was a medical ChatGPT, all I have to do is just type an instruction, as simple as that. It cannot get any better, right? Just type in the instruction. That is called prompt engineering. This is what I just did. This is called prompt engineering. Literally, there are jobs. If you search on job portals right now, there are jobs about prompt engineers. Companies are hiring prompt engineers because these companies have realized that the better the prompt, more efficient your workers are, your employees are going to be. They would be able to use these technologies in a much better way. Let's say I'm a developer, right? Application basically. This is nothing but an API. So if I look into the code, if any of you are from any coding background, you can see that it is giving me the exact code that I need to write to build this chatbot. And not just in one technology, I can do in C#, many other technologies, right? So if I go to C#, now here is a C# code to build this chatbot. It is also giving me the API endpoint. So I can, rather than building a chatbot, I can use this endpoint. You know what? Now I want this to be returned in a JSON. If any of you know what is JSON, if you're building any application, you want the data to be in a formatted way, and JSON is one of the most frequently used JSON format, right? So reply rather than in rhymes, let's keep the rhymes and also only respond in JSON format. Another addition to the prompt. Let's ask the exact same question. And this time it should ideally respond in a JSON.
While it's doing that, Mayur, so this could be really useful. For example, because I'm from Leicester, so Leicester University wanted to create a chatbot which basically just highlights their courses and what they do. So is it possible to train the bot to actually know what courses do I have in this university and just focus on that?
Pretty amazing question, because we are currently working with some universities to do the exact same thing for them. So I have some sample data.
Brilliant.
And that was my next step. But since you talked about universities, we'll use some of that data to train our own bot, right?
Yeah.
So now, since I asked it to return JSON, now you can see it has returned a JSON message. So now, if I'm using any kind of programming language to call this API, I can start integrating this immediately. You know, the API would respond in JSON messages, right? Okay. This was about prompt engineering. Now, exactly as Mona asked, can we use our own data and how can we do that? Right. So if you are seeing here, there's another tab called Add
Brilliant.
Your Own Data.
Right.
Right. Now, I may have some sample data. Okay. It's a very small set of data. Okay. But it can work with any size of data. But just for the sake of this exercise, I have a table. Consider this was a SQL table somewhere in the university databases. It
Or
has a
an
list of
Excel.
professors, or an Excel, or a
Brilliant.
CSV, or an image, or a video. Doesn't matter what format it is.
Awesome.
This information is there somewhere, stored in some system. It says what is the name of the professor, what is the course code, and what's the name of the course. Right, so let's assume this is the Leicester University, and they're building their own bot so that people can ask questions about who's teaching what course, right? So let's train our bot with this document. And once we've trained it, we'll come back and ask this question about how many students are there in Princeton. And it should not answer that, right? Because the data we are providing does not contain that answer. So let's do this quick test. I'm going to click on Add a Data Source. Simple. I'm uploading a file. I'm just selecting some options like what's my subscription, what is the storage account name, and so forth, right? But main thing is the next step. That's where I'll upload the PDF file. I need to create an index name. So uni index. And then let's add the file. Okay, so it should have the file somewhere here. Okay, university course details. I'm uploading the same PDF, this one. So it is going to actually train the models using this data now. Next. Accept terms, conditions, whatnot. It is not going into anywhere else. It is staying, the data is staying in my account, my storage. It is not being shared with anyone else. Right? You confirm everything, save and close. I will just take a minute or two while it ingests the file. It trains the models based on the data. Right? We don't have to do anything to train. We are just pointing it to the data, and it's going to do the job. Now, it's going to take a minute or two. Let's see if it does immediately. Just one file. We are running almost close to the time. I hope we can stay about 10 minutes more. Sorry, I've gone a little overboard, but I hope you are having some fun time with this new tech.
Oh, definitely, Mayura. I have so many more questions now. And I'm thinking of what else can I build with this.
Yeah, you
Brilliant.
can do some amazing things with this. Okay, so now it has used that one PDF file, right? So
Mhm.
let's see, this is the PDF and it is now trained. So now we have a chat GPT, which is trained on a University of Leicester's course details. So I'm going to ask what courses Professor Williams teach.
Hmm.
He's teaching 2 courses at the moment, right? So what courses do Professor Williams teach? Sorry, I need to start it again. Come on. That's the demo god, right? Doing the live demo. uh, what courses are taught by Professor Williams? Let me ask another question. Jonas, who's teaching humanities? Okay. Humanities is taught by Professor Jones, right? And let's ask literature. Okay, are we teaching literature this semester? Some different type of questions. Okay. Okay, it's not answering that. Maybe the data is not in the exact right format, but
Yeah.
basically if I ask who is teaching literature, it might answer the question. Okay. Yeah, it's being taught by Professor Kim. This is simply, if I ask to give me a list of all the courses, it should give me a list with all the professors. Yeah, doesn't want to answer that. Let me ask one of the earlier questions so that about the Princetons, right? How many students are there, or how many students are there in Princeton? It should definitely not answer this question, right? Because it is only trained
Hmm.
on the current data that we have. It
Yeah.
is not trained on the public data. And once you have trained your model, if you want to deploy this as a web application so that people can use it, all you do is go ahead and deploy it to a new web application. Select, give it a name. That's it. Just 2 clicks and it will deploy the web application for you.
Pretty amazing.
I want to take just a couple of minutes and give you some more samples that we've recently created using the exact same technology. One is for the NHS. They are experimenting in 3 different hospitals. And another one is for another university that we are currently working with, just like the Leicester. Okay. So this is the chatbot. So when you click here, when you see this deploy to new web application, when you deploy it, this is what you get. You can change the color, you can change the logo, you can change what, how it looks and feels is a pure objective thing. You can change all of these things, right? let's ask some of these questions. This is built for a university, a fictional university called Grand University. There is no such university, but we're just building it up, right? So it has been trained on a lot of financial aid related data. So you can ask a question like, how many students are at the risk of dropout and leave off campus? And it would actually answer you within a fraction of a second. Based on the retrieved document, there are 9 students who are at the risk of dropping out and leave off campus. And here is a list of all of the students.
Awesome.
Right? Give me a list of those students with their average grade. There we go. You have a list of all the students with their average grade who are at the risk of dropping out, right? This is just one example. There are many such examples that you can do. All you have to do is use the right data to train it, and then you can make it act like whatever you want, right? So I could go on and on. This is quite interesting. I get really excited about this when I talk about it. But with respect of time, I want to just cover one more slide, right? Okay. Now this may look like too technical, but I'll try and break it down in just 2 minutes time, right? On the left, you see all of the sources, all of the different type of sources that you can use to build your applications on OpenAI and Azure. It doesn't have to be chatbots, okay? It does not have to be chatbot. ChatGPT is just one of the applications. It can be a web application. It can be a mobile app. It can be an analytics report. It can be a Tableau or Power BI report for that sake, right? You can get any types of data. So on the top, these are different types of data. You can get streaming data. You can get unstructured data like images, video, audio, free text. You can get semi-structured data, right? CSV, JSON, XML. You can use the databases. You can use your existing business systems, basically. This is for the university. So you can see some of the university-specific systems like student information system, library management, finance, and HR. All of this data then gets into something called Azure Data Lake, which is a very large and very cheap storage on Azure. And then you can use all of the Azure AI technologies to work on top of your data. OpenAI is just one of them. There is machine learning. You can use Databricks on Azure. You can use cognitive services, many things you can use. And then you can build any type of applications using OpenAI and in conjunction with all of the other Azure technologies. Right? So this is my last slide. I'm going to skip this because I think I've already spoken about a lot of use cases and applications.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, right? So I'm gonna end there and I'll open for some of the questions. I hope you've got some value or you've learned something that you didn't know an hour ago. I hope I've given you enough to digest today.
Oh, definitely me, Mayur. I mean, I work in product, right? So I'm not that technical, but I do understand technology,
Yeah.
and I didn't really have any idea about what's powering this. So definitely has helped me, and my mind is already racing with all kinds of apps that you could
What you can do.
actually
Yeah.
build with this, and how easy it is to build it, right? So
Yeah.
definitely been very, very, very helpful for me. And I think,
I'm glad it.
l-
Yeah.
yeah, I think also, as you mentioned, like there are some really basic level, like, even if people are trying to explore new roles or new jobs, there is a lot of opportunity to do some very quick learning here. And
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
it's so simplified now. that you could actually learn the skill quite quickly? I'm pretty sure I can build one myself.
Everyone can. And basically, what skill you need to learn might be a little bit different than the other people.
Yeah.
What I encourage everyone that I meet right now is these days lately, doesn't matter what is your current role, you must know some basic levels of AI. You should know how it works.
Yeah.
Right? Like when in the early days, we knew that, if you increase the memory, you would see increase in performance.
Mm-hmm.
So if your computer was slow, you would go to the store and ask them, can you add more memory?
Yeah.
Because it slowed down, right? These are some basics. So doesn't matter what your role is, if you're in product, if you're an analyst, if you're a developer, if you're a tester, doesn't matter whatever you do, you should learn some of the basics of AI so that you can, it would literally open up so many opportunities for you.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, any opportunity that you would see in the market a 6 month or year from now, every opportunity would require some level of AI knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this has been really what do you say? I've learned a lot, and I feel like this is now prompting me to think about doing a basic general AI course.
Yeah,
So those on the phone and people who are interested, we have shared the community link. Do look out for that. And if any of you, after what you've heard today, are interested in any basic AI course, do reach out to us. We can always schedule something with Mayur.
yeah,
And I think whatever your request may be, right? So even if it is generic, do reach out, and I think we can do more sessions, more just for our knowledge sharing sessions rather than actually doing a training session. And if you have those kind of requests, if you post them in the chat or send them via email later, we can gather that feedback and organize something. But yeah, I think I'll definitely be asking for a foundational AI course, Mayur, from you.
sure, definitely. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay,
I see there is
something
one
here.
message.
And there was one useful info I promised I'll go back to it. So I'll share my screen just for a minute before we close. Okay. So Mona, you asked the differences between 3, 3.5, and 4.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the 3.5 is the free ChatGPT site is using this. And if you're paid, you can use GPT-4.
Yeah.
Now, the main difference is into the parameters. Now, this parameters is something that they use. ChatGPT uses parameters to basically come up with the answers,
Right.
right?
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's mind-boggling, basically. I don't know, my mind stops thinking about those numbers when the zeros are so many,
Yeah.
right? So GPT 3.5, all right, let's start with the 3. 3 had 175 billion parameters, but it was still much lower in its capabilities, right? So now 3 is not yet around. We are only working with 3.5 and 4, right? 3 could primarily read text only, and it did not pass something called multi-state bar examination. This is in the context of US.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the law examination to be able to practice in different states, GPT-3 could not pass that. Then 3.5, it used 13 billion parameters. This is what powers ChatGPT. It can also primarily only read text, but it got very close to passing it. It still did not pass the MBE. And it has short-term memory of 8,000 words. What it means is that you can ask it a longer question and you can make that conversation longer. It would know the context, right? But the time when you reach 8,000 words in your conversation, that's where it would stop connecting the context. So if you ask a question, it would give you an answer. You ask another follow-up question, another answer, follow-up
Yeah.
question, right?
Yeah.
When you hit 8,000 words, that's why it's going to stop that memory.
Right.
And then comes GPT-4, which is using estimated, because you cannot really calculate this, a trillion parameters.
Brilliant. Okay.
So as a question itself, you can give it a guidance as long as 5,000 words. Don't care. It has that capability of, digesting the 5,000 words and then also coming up with the right answers.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
when you want to give the complex instructions that do this, but then do this, but also do that, but in this case, don't do this, right? That's like more reasoning capability. That is what GPT-4 has, right? It is also what powers Bing Chat, right? It can, along with text, it can also read video and images. It can produce images, right? And the
Brilliant.
short-term memory is about 64,000 words.
Understood. Okay.
And amazingly, it has already passed the multi-state bar examination with a score of 75%, where the passing average is 68%.
Brilliant.
So you're paying $20 more just for all of these things.
Understood.
It
No.
does make a lot of difference. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think we've got some really good comments as well. So someone says, I am into machine learning, and this session has really helped me research more on OpenAI integration to Azure. I hate NLP, but will surely give this a try.
Yeah.
People found it very useful, and I think there's another one from Akin where
Yes.
they're asking about, are there any certification and how much? So I think
Yes, you can. Yeah.
we can get back to them.
Sure. There is the basic certification is called AI 900. So you can just go to Google and search for AI 900. I'm sure Tutu and the guys at this company, Dwelling at Ease and Women's at Tech, they have some plans of coming up with some training on AI. So if you're interested in how you can elevate your career by learning a little bit more about AI, stay in touch with them. I'm sure there would be some new content announced very soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think we are well over 13 minutes, but I think
Yeah,
Mayur, you kept us going. Thank you very much, because the topic is so interesting. We just didn't want to leave.
it is. Yeah.
So thanks everyone for joining the session today. I would like to encourage you all to basically connect on LinkedIn with us, and WhatsApp group as well. Do join us, and then we are looking to get more sessions in. We are going to try thinking about some other training plans which we will be posting on the website and also via WhatsApp. So do keep in touch. Do share your LinkedIn ID and then profile ID, and then we can all connect with each other. So Mayu, thank you very much.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you very much, everyone, for patiently listening for the
Thanks
hour.
everyone.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Good Sunday. Bye. Thanks, Mayur, for joining so late.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's
Bye.
fine.
Have a great
Yes.
break. Bye.